NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed...
You won't believe what just went down on live television. Colin Jost didn't just roast Meghan Markle on SNL, he absolutely obliterated her. And let me tell you, this wasn't some harmless little jab for laughs. This was open season. The gloves were off, and Colin came swinging with fire that lit the whole place up. He compared Meghan and Harry to America's unwanted imports, like a bad trade deal were desperate to return to Britain. The crowd? They were in stitches. But underneath that laughter, you could feel the sting. That wasn't just comedy, it was a dagger.
Now, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will still get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing.
If you had lunch with Meghan Markle, you'd be stunned at how dumb she was. Not because she's black, because she's an actress who was on the show Suits.
And then came the Harry-Elon Musk comparison. Oh my god, the way Colin delivered it, he basically clowned Harry saying he wastes time just like Musk, except instead of obsessing over rockets, Harry's busy torching his own legacy. That joke? It wasn't just funny, it was surgical. He stripped Harry of his so-called dignity and left him standing there as the world's biggest punchline. The audience lost their minds. Harry's face, if you could have seen it, looked like someone just ripped his crown right off his head.
Harry starts describing this one date with Meghan as the night, let me quote you here, "Me and Em pulled the pin on a fun grenade. I actually started rooting for Prince Andrew."
But it didn't stop there. Enter Stephen Colbert. And honey, Colbert didn't play around. He walked straight up to Harry, live, raw, unfiltered, and dropped a line so cold it nearly broke him in front of everyone. You could literally see Harry freeze. His body language said it all. The prince, once the cheeky golden boy of the royal family, looked like a man cornered with no escape. Colbert flipped their fairy tale inside out, shredding that fantasy of a Hollywood princess marrying her prince. Instead, he made Meghan look like the one dragging around a washed-up husband who adds zero value. Savage doesn't even begin to describe it.
I hope that the kid looks more like Meghan than Harry. No offense, but Harry kind of looks like the guy who played Screech, may he rest in peace.
Gone on Oprah, I didn't know. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. They're the original racists.
The audience roared, but it wasn't happy laughter. It was brutal recognition. They all knew the truth of what Colbert was saying. That marriage? It's not a story of glamour and true love anymore. It's a cautionary tale of a prince turned sidekick living in Meghan's shadow. And then Michael Che jumped in with a wedding roast so cutting, it stripped away every last bit of sparkle from that royal ceremony. He tore through the crowns, castles, and fantasies, boiling it down to one hard reality. Harry's just another privileged guy living off family money. The applause? Deafening. Because deep down, everyone knew he nailed it.
President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK that will reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these...
And Meghan? Oh, she wasn't safe either. Colbert kept coming, this time mocking their cringeworthy pet names and ridiculous M&H branding. Let's be real, who over the age of 30 needs that kind of cutesy nonsense? The sarcasm was dripping. Everyone knew he was right. Their desperate attempts to seem relatable only made them look out of touch and embarrassing. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Jimmy Fallon jumped in like a shark smelling blood. He went straight for Meghan's so-called content, his punchline, that it's all hype, no substance, and absolutely no direction. He reduced her entire career to smoke and mirrors, and the audience howled. Meghan, stripped down to nothing but confusion and clout chasing.
Electric cars, he's going to Mars. Why is he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits.
The verdict was clear. Late-night TV had spoken. Meghan and Harry weren't royals anymore. They were the industry's biggest running joke. And it didn't stop with SNL. The roast spread like wildfire. Jimmy Kimmel came swinging with one of the sharpest digs yet, mocking their dramatic escape from Britain. He asked the obvious. If you were truly fleeing racism, why on earth would you run straight into America? A country infamous for it? The audience gasped. The hypocrisy was glaring, but then they laughed because it was undeniable. The truth hurts.
NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed...
And Kimmel wasn't done. He sliced deeper, comparing Harry to the actor who played Screech on Saved by the Bell. Ouch. That one hit so hard it stripped away every last scrap of dignity Harry had left. And just when you thought it couldn't get uglier, Joe Coy stepped in at the Golden Globes with a Netflix joke so brutal it silenced the room. He called out the scam of the century. Meghan and Harry pocketing millions from Netflix for projects that flop harder than a bad pilot no one even remembers. The whole world suddenly realized it was all smoke, mirrors, and failure dressed up as royalty.
Earlier today, Suits actress Meghan Markle married some unemployed dude who still lives with his grandma.
But Trevor Noah? Oh, Trevor Noah took it to a whole new level. He roasted Meghan for dragging Harry out of his family like some broke boyfriend kicked off the couch. The audience erupted. He nailed the power dynamic. Meghan didn't marry a prince. She recruited a project, a side hustle. Harry went from being the royal rebel to Meghan's +1, and the punch didn't just land, it left Harry crumbling in real time. Yet as vicious as that was, Colbert wasn't finished. He looked Harry dead in the eye and delivered a line about being a good man that nearly folded him in half on live TV. The prince had no comeback. None.
Meghan Markle has finally revealed why she and Prince Harry call each other M and H.
And he'll say M and you'll say H and your friends say M and it just is a thing.
It's a thing.
And do you both love it?
Yes, and I like nicknames a lot.
What could it be? A mystery for the ages.
Meanwhile, the roast spread like wildfire beyond SNL. Conan O'Brien took their wax figures and turned them into a comedy sketch from hell. What started as innocent fun spiraled into absolute carnage. Conan riffed on Meghan's delicate hands, Harry's soft lips, making even their wax doubles look pathetic. The audience, uncontrollable laughter. But beneath the humor, the message was clear. Meghan and Harry weren't admired anymore. They were props. Playthings. And when Alexandra Daddario spilled how Meghan's chaos seeped into her personal life, oh, that was the dagger. She confessed Meghan ruins everything she touches because of her endless hunger for attention. That wasn't just gossip. That was a Hollywood insider confirming Meghan is toxic energy personified.
This is what happens when you bring the first black woman into the royal family. She looked at Harry and she's like, nigga, you need to get a job. You a grown-ass man. You can't still be living in your mama's house.
And if you thought it stopped there, think again. Alexandra said Meghan showing up at a yoga studio sparked panic among regulars. Imagine, people weren't worried about their workouts. They were worried about losing peace because Meghan turns everything into a circus. Paparazzi swarming, chaos exploding, all for her staged photo ops. Meghan's brand, Alexandra revealed, wasn't glamour anymore. It was disruption, pure chaos wrapped in designer labels. And that's when Ricky Gervais jumped in, torching Harry for his arrogance. He painted him as a billionaire too cheap to pay for entertainment tickets while the rest of us hustle and grind. The crowd dying. Because Ricky exposed Harry as exactly what he is, a man born into privilege who still thinks the world owes him something.
I was curious what they did with Harry and Meghan's wax figures, so I found a museum employee who's temporarily storing them.
And just when you thought the comedy world had nothing left to roast, John Mulaney came in swinging. And he didn't just tease Harry, he annihilated him. His punchline? He mocked Harry for ditching his royal duties and abandoning his elderly grandmother, the Queen. The crowd froze, then gasped, then roared. The way Mulaney framed it, Harry wasn't a noble rebel. He was just a dumb ginger throwing away centuries of tradition for a quick thrill. Brutal doesn't even cover it. It was the kind of roast that leaves permanent scars. And then Tim Dillon stormed in like a wrecking ball. No filter, no sugarcoating. He ripped Meghan to pieces, calling her unbearable, grating, and downright insufferable. The audience howled because deep down, they knew he was right. And when he dragged her Hollywood resume, oh honey, he gutted her. Tim reminded everyone that Meghan's entire career was built on a second-tier cable show. Suits. That's it. Not a superstar, not a legend, just another actress who strategically climbed by marrying a prince. His words didn't just sting. They shredded the whole illusion Meghan had carefully crafted.
Why does Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags? They don't know why.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
There's another bag.
And that confuses.
And as if that wasn't enough, Brokeen got up and demolished their Netflix documentary. He admitted he started watching with an open mind, ready to give them a fair shot. But by the end, he despised them even more. His review wasn't just negative, it was an obliteration. He mocked their nauseating H&M nickname obsession, calling it childish and fake. He roasted Harry's clueless curtsy attempts, exposing him as a man disconnected from his own family traditions. That clip went viral because it showed Harry fumbling like a tourist in a castle he was born into. The irony was delicious. Harry and Meghan tried to humanize themselves, but instead they humiliated themselves. And Brokeen didn't stop there. He ripped into their fun grenade nonsense, calling it pretentious and self-important. The kicker? He joked it was so cringe it actually made Prince Andrew look better by comparison. The crowd gasped. That's about as damning as it gets. By the time Brokeen was finished, Meghan and Harry weren't just disliked, they were despised. And the security payments whining? That was the nail in the coffin. Imagine two multimillionaires begging taxpayers to fund their bodyguards while they rake in book deals and Netflix money. Entitlement on display, and the world saw right through it. But honey, it wasn't just stand-up comics anymore. The animated shows joined the slaughter, and they didn't hold back. South Park dropped a bomb so devastating it rattled every corner of Meghan and Harry's empire. The writers portrayed them as ultra-privileged clowns, whining about suffering while cashing massive checks for telling the same sob story over and over. The hypocrisy was too easy, too glaring, and South Park made it comedy gold. They exposed Harry's biggest contradiction. He despises journalists, yet he turned around and wrote a tell-all book, airing his family's secrets for profit. The irony was painful, and the audience knew it. And then came the so-called privacy excuse. Meghan and Harry swore they just wanted a normal life. Privacy, they cried. But South Park nailed the truth. They were chasing cameras, cutting Netflix deals, posing for fashion magazines. Privacy, please. They begged the world to leave them alone while staging paparazzi shots at yoga studios and charity events. The hypocrisy was so thick you could cut it with a knife. South Park shredded them with zero mercy. And it wasn't just America. Oh no, the ridicule went global. Spitting Image in the UK joined the roast, and it was savage. They mocked Meghan and Harry's California lifestyle, crying about privacy while living in a mansion down the street from Oprah. The sketches showed Harry not as a man who escaped the monarchy, but as a man still on a leash. First, he followed the Queen's rules. Now, he follows Meghan's. Different leash, same obedience. The audience? They couldn't stop laughing because it was too true. Harry hadn't escaped control. He just swapped masters. And then came the polo scene. Oh my God, it was the dagger. Harry couldn't even play a harmless game in his own living room without Meghan swooping in to shut him down. That moment exposed the power dynamic in the clearest, ugliest way possible. He wasn't a prince anymore. He was a prop, a background character in Meghan's never-ending quest for attention. By now, Meghan and Harry weren't just the butt of jokes. They were comedy's favorite punching bag. From late-night hosts to animated parodies, the world had reached the same conclusion. These two weren't untouchable royals. They were fair game. And then came the most devastating moment of all. The knockout punch, Stephen Colbert again. Harry proudly said his favorite movie was Gladiator. Sweet, right? Wrong. Colbert looked him dead in the eye and fired back with a Marcus Aurelius quote from the film. Let us have an end to this debate about what makes a good man and be one. The weight of it hit Harry like a brick wall. His face crumbled on live TV. He knew it wasn't just banter, it was truth. A mirror held up to his own failures, and the audience saw it too. Harry, once the cheeky, beloved prince, was now reduced to a man exposed, roasted, and laughed at by the very people he once courted. Meghan, the Hollywood starlet who thought she had secured her fairy tale ending, was now branded as chaos, entitlement, and unbearable drama. The fairy tale? It wasn't just over. It was shattered beyond repair. So here we are. Meghan and Harry, once icons of romance and rebellion, are now the biggest punchlines in the entertainment industry. Every corner of comedy has joined forces to mock them, from live shows to animated satire. When even cartoon characters won't respect you, your reputation is in ruins. The question now isn't whether Meghan and Harry can bounce back. It's far darker, because the truth is, they've already become something far worse than irrelevant. They've become unforgettable, but for all the wrong reasons. For all the wrong reasons.